Hi, I'm Jane, and together with Jodes, we are two proud feminists passionate about female empowerment. This podcast is our take on the real conversations, real issues, and real challenges we must stay focused on if we're going to inspire the next generation of female leaders, managers, and entrepreneurs to pick up the baton and continue the journey to equality. But be warned, there will be rants and the odd profanity, but mainly just lots of curious conversations, uplifting stories, great guests, and food for thought on the path we still have to travel. It is clear that our young girls need us to harness our gumption and to use our voices now to make the changes we all know need to happen. It's time to be a pioneer, not a passenger. To paraphrase the famous words of a female game changer, Hollywood's iconic Bette Davis, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 6 of series 1 of Jane and Jodes on One. Today we're going to be talking about sisterhood and specifically why we believe we need sisterhood. But I think it's important we start with what it is first, because I think similarly to in an earlier episode, I think it was episode 1, wasn't it, when we were talking about being feminists?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And actually people having a bit of a wonky perspective on what being a feminist might be. We said what it was to us. Actually, sometimes that phrase sisterhood can be similar, can't it?
Yeah, people think it's like a cult, don't they? Or, some kind of religious, man-bashing group or so on. So it's got the same kind of connotations as feminism, hasn't it? And, simply for me, it's just women having women's backs. It's just women supporting women.
Yeah. In whatever way, shape or form that feels right for them. And actually, we did a bit of research on the definition of it, didn't we? We got the good old dictionary.
We got the dictionary out. We did indeed.
We also had a little look online, and I found a really lovely definition of sisterhood. Actually, that is the solidarity of women based on shared conditions, experiences, or concerns. And I think that one marries beautifully with our podcast in terms of what this podcast is here to do.
Love the word solidarity.
Solidarity.
Love that word, yeah.
And actually, what we do on this podcast is, we say we are real women having real conversations about real issues, and if this is about the solidarity of women on shared conditions, experiences or concerns.
Yeah. Nailed it.
You know what? Then this podcast is the catalyst for sisterhood, so first and foremost, I think that's a big point to kind of say, let's be clear on what it is and what it isn't. Let's no longer have it as maybe a triggering kind of word. It simply means that we've got each other's backs in many different guises, many different situations. Let's just take the mystery out of it. But in reality, it doesn't necessarily always translate like that. Like if I go on Instagram, the way that I have my feed, i.e. the things that I follow, the people who I connect with, my feed is full of what I would class as sisterhood posts. Yeah? But actually, in terms of my lived experiences and when I interact in real life with people, those two things don't necessarily always marry up. And I'm at risk of sounding hypocritical or critical of women, but sometimes, so please take this in the spirit it's intended, because I come at this with real good, clean intent, is sometimes it feels like we're our own worst enemy. I don't know if that resonates with anybody else. There have been times in my life where I felt the most unsafe is when I've been in the company of other women. And I think that's where some of my male energy has often come from, because if I go through my career particularly, I've always felt safer working with men. than working with women, and
That's
I feel a little bit sad about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's really interesting. I would say the reverse, actually.
Right.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I have always worked predominantly with men when I was in the corporate sector, and had some fantastic male bosses and some fantastic male mentors. Only ever worked for a couple of women. One of them was an absolute dragon. Made my life hell. One of them was lovely. So I don't have as much experience of those negative women as you do. But I am aware that sometimes when women get together, sparks fly for all the wrong reasons. And women can be quite manipulative. But I do think that starts very young. Yeah. Very young.
Well, it's almost like, is there a nature-nurture debate on this? We can talk about both of those things. I am slightly convinced that there is a little bit of nature to it. If you do a little bit of research into kind of our primal instincts, if you look at the difference in primal instincts of men and women, it's kind of not surprising that some of that behaviour manifests the way it does in modern day world. What we were created for in early life.
Yeah. So it's all about the man. It's all about the boys, isn't it? Yeah. It's all about competing for the boy, for the man. That's our primal.
Yeah, because as women, we're created with limited resources to procreate.
Yes.
And it's important therefore to get the cream of the crop, the best that you can to secure that for yourself.
So we see that in the animal kingdom, don't we? We're animals. So clearly there's that going on. And you see that in schools with young girls all the time. And reality TV compounds that.
Well, because you look at we could always talk about Love Island all day, every day of the week, couldn't we? But
do we?
Here's one for me that really reinforces that. Have you ever watched Take Me Out, which is a game show?
Yes, with Paddy McGuinness.
I mean, I love Paddy McGuinness.
I love Paddy McGuinness as well.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
But I always get a little bit agitated that show is always done with a lineup of women, and it's the man who gets to choose, who has the power in his hands.
Yes.
To do the selection. Like, when are we going to play this game the other way around?
And the girls are all like competing with each other, and and eyeing each other up and trying to outdo each other with the comments, and you just cringe, don't you? You absolutely cringe. But you're right. Why is it not done the other way around as well? Yeah. Why could you not have half one, half the other? But when you see a lot of this mean behaviour, and it starts right back in primary school, a lot of it is about being popular. It's about, and why do we want to be popular? Because, we want the boys to like us, or a certain boy to like us. And then we take that into secondary school and it gets meaner. Yeah. And then it goes on social media. And if somebody's being your boyfriend, nobody else is allowed to go out with him. And I always find that fascinating. He's not your boyfriend anymore, Ellie. I know, but he's been my boyfriend. Yeah, but he's your ex-boyfriend. Yeah. Clues in the answer is ex. Yeah, but she can't go out with him because I've been out with him. So they have this really screwed idea of, what their friends are allowed to do. And it's all related to the opposite sex. It's all related to boys, and partners, not necessarily the opposite sex. Yeah.
And it, for me, I don't know about you, what I'm hearing in that is it kind of seems to all connect back to insecurity. In a quest for self-worth, which obviously we're all put on this earth. Every single human being is driven by self-worth. We do what we do to feel good about ourselves. And obviously that gets quite wonky, because obviously we'd look at a serial killer and go, really? Are you doing that to feel good about yourselves? But if you did unpick it back through that person's life, you would clearly see correlation back to a quest to be loved, to be seen, to be heard, to be listened to, to be noticed,
validated, all of those things.
In a quest for self-worth. It just gets out of control and the behaviour gets a bit wonky. It's the same kind of thing sometimes that's happening. So there's a massive nature piece to this, is knowing that, our primal instincts set us up easily to get into this non-sisterhood vibe. But you and I spoke actually about a contradiction to that then we were like, oh, well, hang on a minute, now I'm scratching my head, because if we looked at tribal setups, Well, we talked about the community and tribes is built on women.
Women, absolutely. And it's very efficient and it's very supportive.
That's flipping
and it works. It works. It absolutely works. And again, you and I have worked with women in different capacities for many, many years. And, you know, the current work that I do, and that you're engaged with Girls Out Loud, when we train Big Sisters, what's really fascinating for me is we get this group of women together for a day.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday, so they're all out with their corporate clothes. You know, they're all dressed how they want to be dressed. And they don't know each other. And they're all from different organisations with different backgrounds, different ages, different routes into their job, different level of qualifications. And we put them together and we train them to be mentors, and we talk about girls, we talk about feminism, we talk about what we're doing, why we're doing it. And they absolutely love it. Mm. And it's probably the first time they've been in a room with such amazing women. And a lot of them talk about, like, this is like so unusual for me because my place of work is male dominated, and I don't even really have another woman on my team, or I don't see more than 2 women in a week. And so to be in this environment with all these women, it is utterly magical. Yeah. And they get so much from that, and they come up to us afterwards saying, oh, this has been amazing. And what they're saying is, it's not just the training that's been amazing, it's that community, it's that sisterhood, it's like having that shared experience, it's opening up about your life to somebody that you don't know.
The V word pops back up, absolutely, doesn't it, from last episode?
Absolutely. And when you do that, you gain so much. And then they talk about, and do you know what, Jen? I didn't even know I was a feminist till today. And it's like, job done. Job done. Yeah. So it is magical when we get together with the right intention, that's been organised for us properly, with the right intention, and we attract the right women. It's magical.
Yeah. You know, and that's the big important thing, because actually just putting a bunch of women together does not guarantee that that's what you will get, does it? You know, so as an example, recent retreat that I was running, you know, I get asked regularly, actually, it's like, you know, do you ever like bring a group of women away and, you know, they don't get on, or there's a problematic person in the group? And I'm like, no, actually, never. I'm like, well, how come? So, because I work hard to create the right conditions for the right behaviour and mindset and attitudes to thrive, even if that person might be different beforehand at home. This environment doesn't allow that kind of behaviour to flourish and grow. It only allows empowered behaviour to show up. You know, and interestingly, one of the guests had commented to say, well, I've recently been on a retreat and I left. Wow. Because it was toxic. Wow. So it doesn't just happen automatically. It's not guaranteed by chucking a bunch of women in a room. That magic we talk about has to be curated. But
also, if it isn't working, then, you know, that there might be a couple of bad eggs in there who have come into that meeting for the wrong reason, but they soon get knocked out. They soon get, you know, I'm not saying forced to leave, but the environment soon kind of creates a situation where they do leave.
Yeah, or they get influenced to think, do you know what?
It's not for me, this.
Or that I quite like what I'm seeing here. I'm going to change my tune and join in one way or the other, but they don't continue to exist in the way that they arrived. You know, that's the bit that's not up for negotiation, is it? It's like, you can feel free to leave if it's not for you, or this is how we do things around here.
These are the ground rules.
Yeah, there's a cultural norm to doing that stuff, isn't it?
So if we are going to set up groups, which we really want to, don't we?
Because actually they're on the decline. We were talking the other day, weren't we, about women?
Really difficult to find them, isn't it? It's really difficult to find them, and it feels as though the job's done. It feels as though, like, oh, well, we don't have any women's networks anymore. What does that mean then? Does that mean we've got equality? I must have missed that memo. Yeah. Must have missed that announcement.
There are plenty of people who think we have got equality, and, you know, we have got equity and parity. You know, whenever I post about some of the women's meetups online that I do, even in my local Facebook groups, I'll quite often get lots of comments from many different people not just men, who will say, why is this only for women? You know, and I'll explain, you know, that actually this is about supporting women to have equal opportunities and the same kind of access to stuff. When we talk about equity, you know, that they have a level playing field to do the same things. And until we've got that equality, I will continue to do this. Well, we've already got equality, haven't we? Like, well, no, we haven't yet. And actually, it's still probably, sadly, a fair few years off.
I get the same questions about boys. You know, you don't do this for boys because you know the boys are struggling as well. You know, and I'm like, well, that might be so. But they still have all the equity. So until we've got this level playing field, I'm going to still be doing this for girls. Somebody wants to step up and do it for boys, good on you.
Absolutely.
And I'll support you wholeheartedly, but it won't be on my watch. I won't be doing that because I'm a girl and I'm interested in girls getting equality. So you kind of feel you have to justify that all the time, don't you?
And that doesn't mean we're automatically against
Absolutely not.
Other communities, other groups, whether that's men, whether it's people with disabilities, whether it's LGBTQ, people of colour, all of that. We've all got our, you know, it's about everybody, but it's okay for us to champion certain things. I'm happy to be, you know, I will be inclusive to all of that, but I represent this.
Yes.
Just like, because, you know, we often talk with inclusivity that, like, if we talk about the girls that we work with through Girls Out Loud, it's really important that in the role models we bring to them, that they can see themselves represented. There is a representation of them. So it's required everywhere, but I am a representation of somebody. You know,
and have a right to own that. Have an absolute right to own that.
And that doesn't mean I'm disrespecting
no, it doesn't.
Another group.
No, it doesn't. But we're going to talk about this in our next series, aren't we? Because, you know, this whole kind of issue of silencing women and, you know, dismantling women's networks, particularly in the corporate sector, is an interesting scenario, you know, and it's what's behind that and who's driving that and why are we doing that. So that's one of our interesting episodes that we've got to talk about next series.
Because actually, you know, there's many compelling reasons why we do need it. You know, if we talk about, well, why do we need sisterhood? Why do we need these networks to remain? Even if we just come off the big picture goal of, you know what, until we achieve equality, it's necessary. Actually, like we talked about, it's the magic we create when we're together in terms of the degree of change,
action,
the unity we create, the power,
helping young girls rise, bringing people with us, changing the laws, you know, making it easier for the next generation, making it easier for our generation by having other people that are going through the same thing that we're going through that we can talk to about it. There are so many more reasons to be connected.
And actually, you know, we talked last episode about Jane's book, Superwoman. I get this a lot about my books. I hope that Jane can see me lifting my wrist up now because I have my book title tattooed on my wrist just in case I ever forget what I wrote. But, you know, my book's called Woman Up. And do you know what? People make big assumptions about that and give me quite a bit of stick. You know, I have people that say, well, you know, there are men who get told to man up and that's a big impact on men's mental health. Why are you doing the same to women? Well, actually, I'm not, because for me, one of the first things I write about in my book is the definition of that. And the definition of Woman Up is about women helping other women to rise.
Yeah, so don't make any assumptions.
Yeah, because it makes an ass out of you and me. That's an old 80s joke, isn't it? Still love it, though.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
But actually, you know, be curious about what that might mean.
Be interesting, isn't it? How many women are listening to this going, oh, God, no, I don't want to talk to other women about what's going on in my life. Or women actually craving for that sisterhood. We're either craving for it or we've had it smacked out of us. But you know, but you know, most of the women that I speak to are craving for that sense of commitment, that sense of connection, that sense of community. They're craving for it and they don't know where to get it.
Yeah, and actually I see a lot of people that don't realise they even need it or want it until they have an experience of it, and then they're like, oh my God, what's this?
Yeah, we're not going to lose touch now, are we? Can we keep this going?
When are we doing this again? Because I feel alive, I'm inspired, I'm motivated, I've got fire in my belly. That's one thing I would say. I feel fired up. I've got confidence. Especially women who are running their own business, they go away from some of the networking meetings that I run and they say, do you know what? I've been rattling around on my own at home thinking, is this business even a goer? Does anyone really care what I've got to say? Does anyone really want to buy what I've got to offer? I spent 2 hours in a room with you a lot and I'm like, get in! I could conquer the world now.
And this is about shared interest, isn't it? Because not one size does not fit all. So if you put a woman's network together and you've got corporate women in there, professional women in there, entrepreneurial women in there, women that are running charities in there, it's not going to connect the same as if you say, right, this is for entrepreneurs. And it's for entrepreneurs that are turning over companies that are 6 million plus. Okay, that's a very specific niche. You bring those women together and it just rocks. Yeah. And then you have another group of entrepreneurial women that are startups and you bring them together and it rocks. So that's where the work is, isn't it? That's where, you've got to create that environment. You've got to create it
about who it's for. And because actually, in the one that I run, it is for career women and women who run their own business, but it's built on a sense of social.
Yes.
Having some friends of your own.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one thing I realised recently in the last couple of years was, I thought, I haven't really got any friends. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people I talk to that I meet up with, blah, de, blah, de, blah. I was like, oh God, I haven't really got any friends. And so what I always end up doing is whatever I want and need in my life, that's what I create for other people.
Yeah.
And that was the purpose of this, is that actually this is a space where you can come to if you need and want some friends and some social activity, as well as a bit of personal growth along the side. So, all of those things.
Yeah. So we know it works, don't we? We know it works when you see it, when you're part of it, when you engage with it. We know it works, but we need to do a lot more.
We need to do a lot more. People need to know how. So let's kind of end on that. If there's women listening to this who either are crying out for a little bit of this, or they've been convinced by this conversation that, you know what, maybe, you're right, I could come round to this a little bit more. How? What are the things that we would say?
Well, I would say define your tribe.
Yeah.
So I would be, who do you want in your tribe? Who is your tribe? And then either go out and see if there's something exists, or if there isn't, create
it. Yeah, be a change maker, be a creator. I think the one for me, there's a couple in this for me actually. We've not really spoken about this so much, but I'm probably at risk of sounding like I'm up here on my own pedestal. Oh, I'm this fabulous sisterhood person, but I want to be clear that I'm not, and I haven't always been. I've had really crap self-awareness around it though sometimes, where I thought no, I'm not one of them bitchy girls. I'm not, I'm an inclusive, empowering, blah 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 person, when actually my kids have called me out before if I've been judgy about other women.
Good for them.
Actually have a little look in the mirror first and foremost, because sometimes when there's a phrase I use with myself and sometimes with people I know, is if we're tempted to be a bit catty, a bit bitchy, a bit backstabby about something, that's normally a reflection of ourselves. What is it saying about me rather than what it's saying about them? So I try and catch myself in those moments. I think if we all did that a little bit more, even just a smidge, turn the dial up a smidge on that, is what does that say about me? Then I'd probably show up as a better sisterhood creator.
Okay, a better sister.
Better
sister. Okay.
Yeah. And then I think the last one's really about how we role model, because to your point, how this is manifesting in our teenage girls who we see every day, and as an owner of 3 of them myself, I think we've got some work to do in terms of how we teach them.
Yeah, because they don't get sisterhood at all. And they don't get it because we don't get it. So they can only model and copy what we're doing. If they don't see us doing it, if they all see us doing is being catty and calling out other women and saying, look at the state of her or whatever, then they're going to copy us, aren't they?
You know, I've seen it where, two girls have fallen out at school. I've been part of this, right? My daughter's fallen out with someone else at school. And the other mum has brutally attacked me about the situation with the girl, verbally, by the way, not physically. But I've had to go, right, you know what? We need to show these girls how to resolve conflict like grown-ups now, not go into battle, you know, to win on behalf of our child. You know, this is our opportunity to show them how to come together and resolve the situation. And, you know, it wasn't easy, but girls who were falling out of then watching both mums or parents go head to head. Right, okay, that's how we deal with it. We have a full-blown cat fight about it.
Or, you know, not taking any responsibility.
Yeah.
Can't possibly be my daughter, that.
Yeah.
Can't possibly be my daughter.
So, shadow. Watch your shadow.
Yeah.
You never know who's looking.
No. And finally, for me, it's about that we need to grow our sisterhood networks, communities. We need to go deep. We need to go wide. We need to go steep. And we need to get on with it.
Well, that's a right corker to end on, isn't it? So get on the sisterhood wagon.
Today, people.
So, on that note, that actually brings our first series to a close. So, wow, what a roller coaster it's been already.
Gosh.
But we're all planned and ready for series 2, aren't we? And we do have a theme. Jane, what's our theme?
What's our theme for series 2? Bear with me. Let me get my notes. You threw that one on me, didn't you?
Sorry.
Okay, series 2 is the big picture. The system is biased.
Right. So we're going to be unpicking systemic bullshit. Really.
And we are.
Yeah.
All the culture, all the structure stuff. Yeah. And our first episode is that it starts young.
Right.
So we're going to be picking up on some of the things we talked about today.
So yeah, we'll see you soon as we kick off series 2.
You have been listening to Jane and Jodes on One. Until next time, remember, sisterhood matters. Together, we are bold, brave, fierce, and unstoppable.